So, due to this whole coronavirus situation, we can't actually meet up in person. So, you guys are now subject to my handsome, dark, poorly lit face for the next couple of minutes as we talk through how to promote your blog through online ads. So, just to get things clear right from the get-go, I'm not going to teach you on how to actually set up any of these ads. There's just too many platforms, too many little variables to go through in a short period of time. Instead, what I'm going to do is that some of those things, I'm actually going to link them below so that you can be able to see those. And realistically, the platforms, they literally hold your hand and walk you through the process. So you really don't need someone who take you through it too much. Actually, I think what I'll just do is that from time to time, I'll release smaller little videos that will go in depth for each of the platforms and each of the ads. Just let me know if that will be something that you'll be interested in. What we will do today instead is that I will teach you how to set up and make adverts that will actually get you the highest performance for your blog for any of the platforms. So, without further ado, hi, my name is Simkai Wande. Welcome to WordPress Harare Meetup for how to promote your blog through online ads. Let's get it. Alright, so let's do a rundown of what we're actually going to be going through in this video. We're going to do the definitions of our subject matter so that we make sure that we're all on the same page here. We're going to go through some of the common words that we actually talk about when we talk about online ads. So a lot of the things that are basically going to come through this video, we're going to touch there. We're going to go through the types of online ads and their platforms. So basically what you can use the most for which function. We're going to go through the most important thing that you need to get right for your online ads to work. So basically, when you do that one thing and you do it properly, you're not going to have issues with your online ads. We're going to go through how online ads are actually served. So part of the technicalities so that we can understand everything else that comes afterwards. What you need so that you actually get to run these ads. General best practices for your ads in the setting up and actually creating them. Preparing your blog for the ads so as to make sure that you have best performance when these things are ran. How to measure the success of your ads. And lastly, I've got some bonus points for you because, I'm a nice guy like that. So let's go through it. Definitions. Just to make sure that we're on the same page here. So we're talking about promoting your blog with online ads. So there are two particular phrases that I want us to actually get to discuss within this process. That's promoting and online ads. So what is promoting or promotion? A promotion is any type of marketing communication used to inform, persuade, target audience to the merits of the particular product or service that you're offering. In this case, our blog. Now, online ads are a form of marketing or advertising that are done on the internet to deliver promotional and marketing messages to particular consumers. So in this case, what we're trying to do is to actually discuss the types of forms that get us to communicate the merits of people for our blog on the internet. Common words that we're going to go through that are probably going to creep up in this video. So this is just to make sure we're also on the same page in case you actually don't know these words. So I'm going to talk about reach. Reach is the number of individuals who have seen your ad. Impressions. Impressions are the number of times your ad has been seen. So try not to confuse reach and impressions. Reach is the number of people who have actually seen the ad. Impressions are the number of times your ad has actually been seen. So impressions are most likely going to be higher than your reach because someone can be able to see your ad 3-4 times and it can be counted as well. Leads. Leads are people who have the potential to become your customers. So usually there's something that they leave that you can be able to action on or follow up on so that you can actually be able to turn this lead into a conversion. So most times we ask people to leave their contact details, a number, an email address that you're going to be able to follow up on or do other actions so that you can turn this person into money. Conversions. Conversions are when an intended action is actually successfully done to achieve a goal. So if your conversion is for someone to actually purchase and surrender their money. That's your goal. That's your conversion. If what you consider a conversion is someone then leaving an email address, then so be it. So it's all dependent on what your goals are for that particular campaign. Clicks, kind of self-explanatory, but just in case. It's an action taken on your link or a button to actually do what you need to actually be done. So if the mouse has actually gone over whatever it is, your image, your advert, your whatever it is, and they've actually made a click, that's your click. Bounce rate. Bounce rate is the percentage of visitors that enter your site, then either immediately leave without scrolling other pages, or leave without doing any other necessary action. So basically, these are people who have entered and gone out. They've not added much value to your site. So depending on the platform that you're dealing with, bounce rates can be measured in different ways. But in general, those are the three things that are looked at. We'll also might talk about cost per click. So this is basically how much you're going to spend per someone doing an action on your advert. Cost per thousand. Oh yeah, cost per click, by the way. It's abbreviated by CPC. CPM, this is cost per thousand. This is how much you pay by 1,000 people who've actually viewed your ad. So let's talk about the types of ads and the platforms that actually get to serve these ads. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about 3 types of ads because I feel as though these are the most relevant to you and your blog. The ones that we're going to talk about are display ads, social media ads, and search engine ads or search engine marketing. So these all have different varies of difficulty and implementation, but they all serve a good purpose. So, starting with display ads. Display ads are typically, well, mostly we get them from Google. It has the largest display network on the internet. So display ads are the ads that you see on the corner of websites, all around, at the top, at the bottom. And these are typically visual based. Sometimes they're visual and text. And these are also the ads that you see on YouTube videos. Yes, those ones that you actually then go to click. If only you knew the amount of effort we go through as advertisers to actually make those, and you just skip through them after 5 seconds. Anyways, not the time to rant about that. Display ads, they are great for promotional purposes and raising awareness. So these are pretty much not so expensive for you. They get to reach a lot of people. And once you do your targeting right, you can actually get a lot of people to actually see these ads and actually take action. The problem with these ads, though, is that if you don't get your targeting right, you will get an increased bounce rate on your website. So that's basically a lot of people who are just constantly clicking on the site, getting there, not actually getting to do what you need them to do. So you need to be very smart about these ads when they go through. The other thing about them is because since they go through, they're in between a lot of content on websites, and you actually get to compete for some of the spaces. That means that there's a lot of these ads that actually get shown. So the problem is you need to be very creative so that these ads can actually get to stand out from other people. Social media ads. These are probably the most common, and they exist on your favorite social media networks. So we're talking Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, across the shebang. They're all over the place. Now, these are also great for raising awareness. And they come in various shapes, sizes, forms. You got your lead forms, you got your big ads, your small ads, video ads. They're all over the place. However, what I would encourage you to do with social media ads is to make sure that you use these ads to build a community, whether on your platform or on your blog. I highly discourage you to use these ads just to send traffic directly to your website. Here's my reasoning for this. We also come back to the issue of your bounce rate. So there's a lot of people that are on these social media platforms and that are looking for various different things in various different types. If you just put out your ad so that someone can go and land on your homepage, on your about page, on anything of the like, it's going to be a waste of a view. Instead, what you'd rather do is use your money for people to come onto the platform and build your following. So now what you then can do is build your content around your following on that platform, so people can then be led from the platform to your website. What you've now effectively done here is create good quality traffic that's actually going to your site. So, social media ads, use these to build a community. Use that community and engage people. Once you engage people, they properly understand what your blog is about. You've gained value. They know what you're doing. They can now confidently be able to follow your links back to your website and give you good quality traffic. These are low costs, but they do require some social skills and also some creativity, because you need to create content and stay engaged with people. And they also need you to be well planned. But if you are very, very stubborn and you still want to send out ads that link directly to your site, might as well do it not with general pages such as your homepage, your about page, and your contact page. Do it with your content pages. So promote a blog post for a relevant topic at that time. It will work for a lot better for you, because what you're now trying to do is to build that value. Make sure you put out ads that people see the value in, so they can follow and be able to build your good quality traffic. Do not use social media ads to lead them to your general pages. Typically a bad idea. Search engine ads or search engine marketing mostly happens on Google, and that's because y'all use that platform so damn much, but we're not complaining. So basically, these are the ads that you see at the top of search results on search results pages or on the right column. So what happens is that whenever someone is looking for something, these search ads, they come up where as a promotional feature towards certain content that people are actually looking for. So use these ads to increase subscribers on your blog. Don't use these ads as well to actually lead people to a general page. You just blow up your bounce rate for no damn reason, right? Use these as a way to increase subscribers to your blog, to attract people who will be interested in particular topics. Now, the thing with search engine ads is that they require a lot of work, because you need to do search engine optimization, you need to do keyword research, you need to come up with particular topics that people actually find relevant, and you also need to find topics that are actually not only just relevant but also have high traffic. So once you set these out and put them out into the world and you set them out, then you put money behind them so that they become ads which actually appear. People will actually want to click on these because they found what they're looking for. Now, if you're not going to give them what they're looking for, don't bother doing it. If you don't have the time to actually properly setting up, also don't bother doing these. I would rather you get to stick to display ads and social media ads. But if you have the time, you have the creative ability to write properly and the patience to actually be able to set up some of your blog posts so that they can actually match to these, do search engine ads. The reason why I also put these here is because these are great for building good quality traffic. The people who click on search engine ads are people who are looking for something that's relevant. They're looking for answers to their questions. They're looking for something that can get to solve their problem. So if you've got that, set it there. People will be forever grateful for you to actually offer them that kind of content, and they will keep coming back to your site for it. So that's search engine ads. Now that we've gone through these different ad variations and what you can do with them and probably what you can achieve, one of the questions you now start asking yourself the most is, how much am I going to spend? Who am I going to target? What messaging am I going to put on this ad? What is the ad going to look like? Where is it going to go? For how long? All of those questions. It's much easier for you to actually get to answer those questions and set up your ads properly on any one of the platforms when you establish this one thing, and this is the most important thing I was talking about that you need to figure out when you're actually setting up your online ads. Relevance. Relevance is the most important thing you need to understand about your ads before you actually get to start to run them. When you constantly ask yourself questions regarding relevance as to your actions, it makes it easier for you to identify all the things that you want to do. So, what is the relevance of the blog to you? So, what are the reasons why that blog exists? Why is it important to you? Why do you even create content for it? Why is that content important to you? And with regards to the promotion that you now want to run, why is that promotion relevant to you? So you now get to understand what it is that it needs to achieve, where it needs to go, how much you need to spend, how much you want to get out of it, what you want to get out of it, and how far that actually needs to go, right? What is the relevance of your blog to the internet? So you're now asking questions of what that blog means to other shareholders, other stakeholders on the internet. Why should the internet interact with your blog? Why should other blogs interact with your blog? Why should the ad platforms send people to your blog? Why should Google rank your page on their page results? Why should the domains be able to support it? Why should they give you an SSL certificate? All of those things. You're now starting to consider the technical bits at the back of where your website is, where your website is working. Why should the internet be able to interact with your blog? And what is the relevance of your blog to your consumers, right? So firstly, who is your consumer? What do they do with their lives? What do they do online? Why should they care about your blog? What do they do with the content from your blog? How would they like to find your content? So now you're starting to figure out things such as, which of the platforms are you supposed to use? How much money am I supposed to spend? Who am I supposed to target? Where do I find these people on the internet? So now that you're beginning to ask yourself questions regarding the relevance of each of the moves that you're doing, it makes it a lot easier for you to be able to figure out what it is that you want to do when you're setting up these ads. Relevance is the core of being able to set up a proper performing ad that all of the platforms will be able to agree with, and that your consumers, your readers, or whoever's actually consuming your content will be able to agree with. Speaking of which, how do these ads actually get served? So there's a bit of a process when it comes to ad serving with any of the platforms that you actually go through. But one thing that's you're probably going to face the most, and this is the most common way that ads are served, is that they actually go through a bidding process. So all of your ads, there's people, hundreds, thousands, millions of people who are trying to run their ads at the same time. So now, how does a delivery system get to decide what ad gets shown where and what time to who? And there's a bidding process that your ads go through. Not the normal bidding that you used to that happens at the auctioneers where they talk like crazy and all that. No. It's a little bit different because with those biddings, it's all about the highest bidder. The guy with the most money is the one that walks away with the ad space. That's not the case right here. So ad bidding, you can actually get to look it up. This is the process of how an advertiser actually gets to decide on which ad to serve, when to serve the ad, who to serve the ad, and for how long. So unlike the normal bidding where you actually used to, like I said, of who actually, the person with the most money actually walks away with the space, these ones consider a lot more factors. And these are the factors that you actually need to be concerned with. And you notice that all of these factors actually move around the concept of how relevant this is. So you look at the quality of your ad. So that's also determined by the relevance. The messaging that is on it, the image that is on it, is it original? Is the right information on it? Is the information that you're speaking to the target market that you actually put up all matching together? How much you're willing to spend. So this is now getting to look at your money that you're offering as compared to how much all the other advertisers want to put up their ad is actually comparing to the relevance of your ad to your audience and the quality and trustworthiness of your website. That actually is important. So Google is not going to is going to rank down your advert if they feel as though where they're sending the person to, which is your website, is of low quality, there's bad user experience, it's slow, it's untrustworthy, it's not secure. If your website has any of those problems, your ad is going to get bumped down and it's probably not going to be shown as far. Google is not going to consider it relevant because we're not sending it to a relevant platform. We're not sending it to somewhere where someone can find use of this ad. So these are some of the things that you need to figure out. This is how you get to know when your ad is performing at its best. It's when it can win all of the relevant bids at the right time. And you can only do that when you yourself, you've actually gotten to figure out what is the relevance of everything that you're actually getting to figure out, that you actually need to put out. You figured out relevance, you figured out your platforms, you now know what you want to do. What do you need to actually get these ads to run? First things first, you need money. Yeah, hard currency from wherever you are. In our case, Zim, you're going to need US dollars. How you get them, none of my business. I really don't know what you do with your life. You need a means to transact that money. Usually, Visa or MasterCard works wonders. PayPal works great as well with nearly all of the platforms. But since you're in Zimbabwe, you're going to need a means to actually fund that PayPal account. If you're not getting your money elsewhere, then a Visa or MasterCard. So if you already don't know where you can actually get one, some of the platforms that you can actually use to actually easily get your hands on a Visa or MasterCard, you can look at an EcoCash MasterCard. So this is the one that I started out with. Very easy to use, very easy to get. It grants you a virtual number, a virtual card number every time you need to transact, which is like in every 2 weeks, then it expires. So that's just the only downside about it. It's not a permanent number that you have. You're going to constantly need to refresh that number each time you actually need to make a transaction if it's not going to be within the 2 weeks. So your platforms are always going to bug you about, oh, your card is about to expire, your card is expiring, your card is about to expire, and you're going to need to constantly change it. If you're not comfortable with going through all of that 2 weeks nonsense, then you're going to have to look for one of the banks. Some of the easy ones that I also found that you're not going to have much problems with opening an account with, as long as you have an account with them. Stewart Bank, Cabs, Nedbank. They won't give you too many hassles about opening a Visa or MasterCard when you need one. Personally, I use a Cabs MasterCard. Why I like it is because it's easy. You don't have too many transactional costs. You don't have maintenance costs. The only downside about it is that you need to upload $50 minimum at a time into the card. So, unlike with the other ones where you can actually put whatever amount of money that you actually need, this one needs a minimum amount of $50 at a time. But I like it because it's convenient. I don't have to constantly switch in and out my cards, and it actually forces me to be organized so that I can make sure whenever I need to put in money, I've made my plans. You need an account on one of the advertising accounts that you actually want to do. Obvious thing. But the thing is, people actually tend to overlook this because from time to time, they actually then go to ask someone else who already has an account to actually do this for them. If you're going to be running ads for your own blog, have your own clean account that you can be accountable for. The reason why I say this is because if something is to go wrong with someone else's ad platform, it doesn't affect your ads and you have complete control of the messaging and what's going out and why it's going out. You need a means to measure. So there's only one way for you to actually know whether your ads are working or not, and that's if you're actually measuring them, you're actually tracking them. And each platform also has their own means to track, but if you're running a blog, then at the very bare basics, have Google Analytics on your website. It hears everything, it tracks everything on your site, and it connects to all the other platforms as well. If you're going to run Facebook ads, put pixels on it. They're not pretty difficult to set up. Like I said, Facebook basically holds your hand throughout the whole process to actually get to put those things on it. Same goes for Instagram. Twitter, I've never come across any of the pixels. If they do exist, please let me know. LinkedIn has pixels that you actually get to add. For those who don't know, pixels are basically short snippets of code that you put on your website so that they actually get to track actions relating to the mother platform ads. And last but not least, you need a means to design. So if you don't have nice designer friends who can actually get to do a good job for you at a very reasonable price to make sure that your ads are going smoothly, then use Canva. That's especially if you're a cheapskate. Use Canva. Canva is much easier for you to actually get to set up the ad. It has templates for all the existing platforms. If you have the time to go through it, to move around and design what you need to, you can use that. The only downside you're going to have with Canva is that if you're not going to be using any original images, then you're going to get bumped down the ads at some point. Also, it still needs some level of creativity for you to actually do these things. So first and foremost, try to find a designer where you can. If you can't, use Canva. It's going to help you out, and it's going to make sure that you stay within the guidelines. Regardless of whichever platform that you actually get to put on them, these are some of the 3 things that you actually need to concern yourself with. If you get these 3 things right, they kind of get to answer all the other little things as well. So as a blogger, just concern yourself with these things. Also, when you're getting to talk to your creative person who's actually making the ad, and you when you're actually getting to set up, do these 3 things right. Everything else, it'll relatively fall in place. When you now need a little more details as to what to do, how to do them and whatnot, research, or you can come ahead and ask me and I can help you out. So, top thing, if you're going to be running display ads, make sure that the creative on your ad, or whatever it is that you're doing, it's original. The advert, the pictures, the imagery must be original. Try to avoid stock photography whenever you can. Make the image original. Make your messaging clear. Make the advert clear. Make it obvious at what it is, what it's supposed to do, what you're communicating to people. Don't try to make people try to figure out what it is, guess, and all of that. There are way too many ads that are running around on the website, on wherever it is that it's going to be already. So if someone needs to put too much brain power around it, look, people have lack of concentration as it is already. You don't want to be taking them through a process just for them to figure out what they want to do and what you want them to do. So make it clear, make it concise, also keep it creative. Also, when you then make that creative, you need to observe what's called the 80-20 rule, right? Your ad should be 80% image and 20% text. The reason why publishers ask for this is because they need to make sure that your ad communicates as clearly as possible. People don't have the time to read. So 80% image, 20% text. If there's more text than that, some of these platforms will actually flag you. So it's actually easier. I'll get to link it below or in the presentation so that you can actually get to look at it. Facebook has a tool that you can actually put your creative through, and if it comes through properly, it'll get to rank it. If you make it out of that platform, then you're cool. All of the platforms as well, they won't have issues with you if you can make it out of Facebook's tool. Second best practice, target only your relevant people. Don't make it too broad. Don't make it too narrow. What we mean is, don't target too many people when you're going through your sliders and trying to figure out who to target. Like I mentioned before, once you figure out who actually needs to see your ad, you'll be able to do this as relevant as possible. The reason why this is important is because it'll help you from spending too little, too much, and it'll also help you to not reach the wrong people, to make sure that your ad actually gets to where it needs to be. So establish which people are relevant to the ad, which people are relevant to the content, and what you need to achieve. Those are the people you need to put on it. If you need any more details or actually figure out how to do that more, please ask me. I'll help you figure that out. And you remember when we were talking about cost per click? Yeah, these also come out from time to time with some of these other platforms. Most of the time, they actually give you a range, an average, as to how much you can put. Try to avoid putting your average cost per click below the average. This way, when you've done all of your creative and all of things, and you now actually need to go through the bidding, you're not going to lose to money, right? At the very least, your average is always going to be there to always help you out and pull you through and put you right at the top where you need to be. These 3 best practices, when you do them, they'll help you out a lot with your ads. All the other little technical things, we're going to have to discuss it. You can get to ask and we'll help each other. But these are the best practices for any of the Google platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. They'll help you out to be able to navigate through those things. Let's now prepare your blog for success. So this is now when we're talking about the relevance of your blog to the rest of the internet, right? So there's a couple of key points that you just need to make sure that you get right on your blog or on your website. So when these things are actually done right, your ads, they work a lot harder for you. Actually, your website will actually be helping out your ads and performing. This way, you probably get to spend less per result that you need. Your ads will actually go further, and also the platforms will actually help you out with your website to actually get more relevant and quality content. So some of the things that here are some of the things that you actually need to concentrate on when you're preparing your blog so that it runs the ads. So try to do these things first before you actually start running your ads, or before you start thinking about running your ads. Do these things first, get these things right. They will help you out a lot when you're now running your ads. Firstly, user experience. So, how deep does someone need to click through your website to actually find the content that you need? Is your website aesthetically pleasing? Is it light? Is it easy to scroll through? There's a lot of little factors that you might need to look at, but for you to actually get to figure out where you lie in these, there's two tools that you can actually get to take a look at that will help you out with user experience. Ultimately, get a developer to look at your website and help you with these things. If you have a friend who does it, even better. But first and foremost, before you try to DIY this, try to find someone who already knows how to code, who knows how to go through development, or who has knowledge about user experience to actually get to fix it for you. If you can't, run your website through uptrends.com or through Learning with Google. These two will give you an optimal score of your speed, of how your website is working. Basically, they run a normal Google tool on it as well, so that you can be able to get to know how well your user experience is. So if Google actually gets to rank you anywhere between 80 and 100, then you've got a good score for running your ad. When you do, the website will do most of the hard work for your ad for you. Secondly, your domain. 1, make sure it's an actual custom domain. Don't be trying to run .wordpress.simkaiwande and nah. Pay for it. Register a domain. If you're in Zimbabwe, .co.zw. If you're not, a .com or anything that's regional. Firstly, try to consider your regional domains before a .com. The reason why I say that is because it also gives relevance towards Google. So when people are searching or trying to find something within a particular region, Google is first going to try and find the regional domains or the regional context, the regional relevance before it starts looking for the international ones. So as much as you can, if you're not trying to go for an international market, keep your domain regional. So first preference .co.zw, .au, .zw, .coza, whatever. Just try to make sure that it's as regional as possible. It helps with that relevance task. Security. Have an SSL on it. At the very bare minimum, have an SSL on it before you start thinking about things such as antiviruses and softwares that are going to look after your security. Some of those things actually weigh down your site from time to time, but you can get to take a look. An SSL for a blog, it's going to work just fine. It will be fine for now, unless you're going to start doing money transactions and all of those things, and you need to keep people's data, then yeah, you need to start looking at other things. Also, if you are going to be keeping people's data, you need a cookie policy. Google it. That's a whole discussion for another day. It's actually quite lengthy, but you're going to need a cookie policy. If you're selling anything, you need a returns policy. You need a trademark policy. Those are just some of the certificates that Google is going to look for and knows, oh, the site is trustworthy, so we can actually get to send it through. Speed. The speed of your website is one of the biggest determinants of how ads actually get to rank your site. If your site is slow, if it takes 19 seconds, which is basically a year in internet time for a website to load, then it's really slow. Google is going to bump down your ad. It's not going to show it to as many people because it knows that the experience that people are going to get is going to be bad. Also, if your speed is bad, it is going to blow up your bounce rates and you're not going to have a good experience from it. So just think about it for yourself. If you're going to click on someone else's ad and it takes too long for you to actually load the site, imagine someone else experiencing the same thing for your site. That's just the core basics of it. Make sure your website is as fast as possible. Also, you can run it through Uptrends, you can run it through GT Metrics, you can run it through Learning with Google. They will get to show you what's slowing down your site, how you can fix it. There's also a couple of things that you can actually get to do. Depending on the problem, you can get to fix it with plugins on WordPress. That's if you actually can't get any of your developer friends to actually get to look at your site for you. So if you have stuff like your images are too big, you can use Optimal, or I use Optimal the most time. So Optimal or Smash, you can look for any of those plugins on WordPress and they'll help to optimize those things. There's plugins that will help you lower down your CSS. There's a lot of little technical bits that you're actually gonna have to get to look at, but there is a plugin for almost everything. But firstly, when you're fixing your sites, just try to make sure that a developer or a coder gets to look at it first. SEO, you need to have it at the very basic level so that platforms find it easy to find your site. Platforms find it easy to navigate your site. Platforms find it easy to refer people to your site. So meta tags, headers, a sitemap, and keywording in general is going to help you out a lot when you actually get to run your ads. Some of the tools that you can actually use to make sure that you've done your SEO right. Try SEMrush and what's this other one with the little Indian dude? Neil Patel. Right, yes. Search for Neil Patel. He'll help you out a lot with your SEO. So these two, they'll go a long way. They'll help you out with your search engine optimization, just general setup for you to know what you're lacking, just to make sure that your ad is going to work fine. If you're going to want to have a platform that actually sits within your WordPress, use what everybody else uses, Yoast. Yoast is also going to help you to set it up just right. Just try to make sure you have an amber or green light as much as possible next to all of your blog posts and your pages. Then last but not least, this is the one thing that actually shouldn't bother you the most, but I will constantly remind people about this. Prepare original and relevant content. Do not steal content. Do not copy paste. Try to avoid stock photography however you can. The reason why we say this is because think about it, if you're running an ad for content that already exists somewhere else on the internet, Google will get confused, or Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. The algorithm gets confused. So it now doesn't know whether to send people. Yes, you've linked it to your site, but when Google realizes that, oh, there's content like this that also exists, the question now is who actually owns it. The moment that it now needs to do too much of that processing, it bumps it down. So your ad doesn't get shown to as many people as possible. So make sure your website has original and content that's relevant to the people that you're advertising for. Don't send a fashion advert to a car blog. I know it sounds dumb, but that's the context of it. Make sure that the ad is relevant to where it's going. It helps the advertisers as well to gain trust as to what they're doing, and they'll bump up your ad for you. No problem. We've set up your blog. You've done all the technical bits. You've set up your ad. You've run it. Things are going. You've spent money. You now have your results. So, how do you measure the success? How do you know that what I've done it right, and I can do it again, or what to fix, or what to tweak? Firstly, have goals. Right at the start. Goals that are relevant to you and what you're trying to achieve. So, do you know whether you want reach? Do you want it to be seen by as many people as possible? Do you want a lot of visitors to just get in and come out? Do you want people to take an action? What do you want people to do? So once you have these goals, they're just general ones that are linked to those words that we started out with, the general words that you find with running online ads. Those are some of the key factors that you're just going to take a look at. So before you start, you now have the amount of money that you know you want to spend, what you want to spend it on, what kind of results that you want to get. Do you want to have a certain amount of clicks on your site? Do you want to have a certain amount of viewers on your site? Do you want to get a certain amount of subscriptions? Do you want to get a certain amount of email addresses? Do you want to figure that out first, so that when you're now looking at these metrics at the end, you can actually then get to compare what you did. So reach numbers, pretty obvious. You want the reach to match or be higher to what you are planning on at the start. Same goes with impressions, same goes with conversions, clicks. Bounce rate, you want it to be as low as possible each time you actually get to run an ad. So get to establish right at the beginning what it is that you want to do, what you want it to achieve. Then compare that to your normal reach, impressions, conversions, clicks, bounce rates, and see if you've actually gotten to achieve it. Another way for you to actually see whether your ad was running right or it was actually going the right way. Platforms like Facebook and Google is going to give you a quality score for the ad. And it's actually going to show you how well or how bad it was doing, how long people actually got to spend time on the ad. Some of these little numbers, they actually get to help you out figure out what to do with your next ad. So say, for example, quality score. If it was low, you now need to go back and actually get to look at what did I do wrong. Was it the image? Was it the originality of the image? Was it how big, how small, how wide it ran, how far it ran? Look at the numbers that have to do with the video that you ran. How long did people actually get to take a look at the video before they scrolled on with their lives? That also helps for you to figure out what content you're going to put and for how long you're going to put on that ad. Take a look at your cost per click and how your money was spent. So did you manage to keep it around the level that was the average? Did it go higher? Did it go lower? So some of those things also, they get to figure out how well your money was spent and how efficiently it was spent. So now next time when you actually need to set up these ads and actually get to do that, you now know what to fix, what to look out for, how much money you have to spend, where to spend it on, and what to do. Some ads actually don't cost you money, right? But they will cost you hard work. So in exchange, these platforms, when we run them with their online ads, they just make it easier for us to do the jobs because we are giving them the money to do the job, right? So if you want to achieve similar results long term, here's some of the things that you can actually get to do that won't cost you too much money. One, be engaging, right? So in your own comment sections on your website and in the comment sections and your content which you put out on your social media platforms, be engaging. It helps gain that mileage, that traction on other platforms that people then naturally come to your website for. So don't be the person who opens a Twitter account and it is full of just links of your blog. Talk to people. Don't be that person who opens a Facebook page and it's just full of your posts. Now, put other content there. Start conversations. Do things around your content that people might be interested in. Talk to people. Engage. It'll get you a long way. Secondly, collaborate with other content creators because their platforms drive traffic to your platform and your platform drives traffic to theirs. Also, because your platforms are interlinked, for Facebook, Google, and all those other platforms, they'll find trust in your blog because there's other people as well who are willing to work with you. Do some extra mile content. So if you already know that you're going to release a blog every month or every 2 weeks and every Friday there's content that's going to be dropped, try to find that extra bit of content that you do that's linked to your SEO goals. So when you go through Uber Suggest, Neil Patel, SEM Rush, when they give you some of that content that you might want to run to get more traffic, just make that extra blog post that you're actually going to put out so that it draws that traffic. Make sure you keep it relevant, make sure you keep it to the point, and that it is conforming to all of the small SEO rules that you need. Lastly, this is the most laborious hint I can give you, but when you get the time to actually sit down and do it right, it helps a lot. And it's called backlinking. So backlinking is basically the process of you getting to look at the content that you have, how relevant it is, and finding other websites that might find your content relevant. Then you're basically sending out messages and emails. You're getting a hold of all of those websites and telling them, hey, how are you? I've got this content which exists, which might actually help you and your readers. So if you could, please just link this to that content and people will be able to help you out. You'll be able to help out other people. So those are the general rules of backlinking. If you can get those all done, fair and fine. So this is basically the end of it. I'm going to try to link everything I can as much as possible to this presentation and to wherever Nigel is going to be able to put this video. So if there are other aspects within this presentation that you're going to need clarity on, please feel free to comment below. I'll try to reply to as many of the messages as possible. If there are certain aspects that you need help with the most, contact me on Twitter at simkaiwande. I respond as fast as I can. And what I'm also going to do is that for all of these other aspects that need things to be done in detail, I'm going to do smaller videos for them, more concentrated on those things so that you can be able to figure those things out and we can go through them together and just have the whole process again together. So whatever you feel as though needs a priority, let me know so that I start with those videos first and we then go through them. Actually, get to let me know which of the platforms you feel as though are a priority more to you And I'll start with those ones first, then we can cascade down to everything else. Otherwise, for those who didn't know, I'm a digital marketing expert. No, actually, don't call me an expert. I hate that word. It makes me feel as though I know everything. I don't know everything. I like learning. I like to constantly improve myself and keep learning. So I'm a digital marketing strategist. I've been working in the Zimbabwean advertising industry for quite a while, and I've worked on most of the big brands that you probably interacted with on the internet. So if you've come across a huge campaign on the internet for any of your big brands, there's a good chance my hands were behind it at some point in time. Um, because of legalities, I obviously can't say names at this point, but you know what it is. So um, hit me up. I'll help you out with whatever you need strategy wise with your blog, with your ads, or anything in general that you just need to do strategy and content wise. Let me know. Feel free to get a hold of me and I'll help you out. Until then, see you later. One last thing, sanitize, practice social distancing, stay at home. It is not worth it.